Hello everyone, and welcome to my playthrough of Kathy Rain 2, Soothsayer. Now, I don't actually know a ton about this. I played the first Kathy Rain and really enjoyed it. So when I saw that a second one came out, I had to give it a go. So we're going into this not blind, but with definite blinders on. Let's just say that. Without further ado, let's get started. Oh yes, I would love to see a recap. I haven't played that in forever.
In 1995, my grandfather died in Conwell Springs, my hometown. I returned for the funeral after being away since childhood. In 1995, I learned that my grandpa had been investigating strange occurrences surrounding a mysterious presence in the forest. However, something happened to him in the woods, putting him in a vegetative state for over a decade. To solve this mystery, I teamed up with Eileen Summers, my college roommate. A Christian nerd and a biker badass. It was a match made in heaven. A local church turned out to harbor a secret cult worshiping the malevolence in the woods, referring to it as the Old God.
I do not remember any of this. Oh my god.
An endangered hallucinogenic flower, the red scythe, was somehow connected to the Old God's power.
This guy does not look okay.
As we came closer to the truth, a servant of the Old God made himself known in dreams and visions, the Crimson One, a scheming trickster.
Okay, it's been a long time since I played this, and I have no recollection of this.
Things came to a head when the priest of the corrupt church, Isaac Price, abducted Eileen, intending to offer her to the Old God. I managed to track them down and have Isaac thrown in jail, but Eileen was in a catatonic state and was about to suffer the same fate as my grandfather. I continued alone and found my way into a great field of red scythes in the depths of the forest. Greeted by the Crimson One, I descended into the Old God's bizarre realm, a place straddling the line between the physical and the otherworldly. The powers of that place tried to break me. My past trauma was manifested and turned against me, including my shadow, an evil doppelganger. I defeated these foes and emerged back into the real world. As I left Conwell Woods, I set the flowers ablaze to eradicate the evil at its root.
That I remember.
In my absence, Isaac Price took the coward's way out in his jail cell.
I remember that as well. I was pretty upset about that.
When I returned, Eileen had awoken. She was safe. It was time for us both to go back home.
Okay. This game is intended for mature audiences and contains graphic depictions of horror, explicit violence, suicide, and other disturbing imagery. Viewer discretion is advised. May 20th, 1998, Day 1. Oh, look at the kitty!
We're closed. For fuck's sake.
Hey, kid.
Oh, Lucas.
Gee, what happened to you? Looks like somebody's been through the ringer.
You should mind your own business, old man, before I bring up your ex-wife.
Hey, now, I'm just looking out for a former student of mine. You're always my business.
Aw.
Oh, I bet I am. That's the only way a has-been like you could ever stay relevant.
Ha! Yeah, that must be it. Now, you gonna invite me in and just let me stand here like an asshole?
Fine, come in then. You want some coffee?
Yeah, I got enough, old sis, thank you very much. That brew you make is rancid.
Oh, I did that on purpose. I wanted to do detective work, not dumb chores like some airbrained secretary.
Feigning incompetence, huh? Clever move.
I guess so. I just wish that shrewdness of mine could make me some money.
There's my segue. Did you hear the news on the Soothsayer?
Ooh,
I
title
never
drop.
took you for a sucker, Lucas. This is Cassidy. There's no way that reward is legit.
You're wrong. Mayor Adams is different. He's the real deal.
And you know this how exactly?
Well, because it just so happens that I was hired to find dirt on the guy. I got nada. Zip. He's a total Boy Scout.
Whatever. We're still talking about a serial killer. Do I look suicidal to you?
Kinda. You passed out at noon, stinking of booze, and that eviction notice hanging over your head isn't doing you any favors.
Would it
That's
ever?
none of your concern. I'm handling it. I just need a goddamn case. A normal case. Free of homicidal maniacs.
Don't know what to tell you, kid. Things are looking kind of dry on that front, you dig?
Oh, God. Please don't try to sound hip, Lucas. Your Dick Tracy imitation is cringeworthy enough.
I suppose you could always pawn off that bike of yours. Buy you another month or two.
Tell him, Mildred. Lose the Catmobile? I'd rather chop off my left tit.
I may
All
be a
right,
has-been,
Artemis.
but I'm fairly sure that self-mutilation won't do you much good. A couple $100K, on the other hand.
I love money just as much as the next girl, but, I mean, this isn't just a long shot. It's about as likely as Mildred turning vegan and taking up juggling.
Come on, one more case, for old time's sake. 50-50 split. How could anyone beat my rugged charm and your youthful vigor?
Lucas, we both know you're about as charming as a clown at a funeral. And the last time I saw my vigor was 3 tequila bottles ago.
All right. I know what I'm beating. I'll drop it.
Look, thanks for the tip. I might actually take a shot at that bounty, but you need to accept that we're not a team anymore.
Aw, that's
We
kind
had
of
a
mean.
good run, but I have my own thing going. Look, see? My name is on the frosted glass and everything.
He's trying to help, man.
I can respect that. You're not allergic to a little quid pro quo from time to time, though, are you?
Now, that I can do. That's how the world works anyway. It's all just an endless circle jerk of quid pro fucking quo.
I don't quite see things that way. But my door is always open if you'd like to discuss the case.
Sure. May the best woman win.
You telling me I'd look good in a dress? Later, kid.
Bye, Lucas.
Aw, I feel like she's being a little too stubborn with the guy. He seems nice. I don't remember too much about him, but
Well, it's not like I have anything better to do. I should have information on the Soothsayer somewhere in this room.
yeah, I don't remember too much about him, but I do think I remember really liking him.
What bills? Never saw those. Nope, no siree. Yeah. Maybe there's something about the killings in these papers.
Okay.
All right. I found a few interesting articles about the most recent murder.
Interesting. Deborah Sinclair. Soothsayer targets best-selling author. Cassidy's serial killer hits high-profile victim. At age 49, the one and only Deborah Sinclair was tragically taken from us. She was stabbed to death on May 8th in her iconic cabin. The chilling signature mirror left on the scene made it clear that she had become yet another Soothsayer victim. Then, for contrast, we also have science fair winners announced. And the dock strikes continue. Oh, you can scroll down. Interesting. We're told by sources in the Cassidy Police Department that there was no sign of a break-in and no items of value were stolen. The cause of the death came as no surprise, acute blood loss caused by sharp force trauma. The circumstances surrounding this crime are strikingly similar to the original casualty of the Soothsayer, Rose Taylor, also a middle-aged woman stabbed to death in her home. This makes 5 victims in 3 months, and the lack of results in the case is starting to anger the citizens of Cassidy. Mayor Adams gave the following statements on May 11th. I'll be the first to admit that I hope to see swifter progress concerning these killings. We plan to evaluate more radical measures in the coming weeks. The chief of police had no comment. The final Cassidy mine was closed. I feel like that could theoretically be related. On May 11th, the only remaining active mine in the greater Cassidy area ceased its operations, marking the end of an era. One cannot help but wonder if the city of Gleam will be able to find a new identity and fill the void that its most lucrative industry left behind. And then also, renowned muralist Julio Rivera's latest masterpiece finally adorns the city center, weaving a visual narrative of resilience, aspiration, and hope. Soothsayer viciously murders Deborah Sinclair. The famous writer's life has met an abrupt end. Sinclair with her signature Yapon tea. We are devastated to report that the fifth victim of the Soothsayer was none other than acclaimed author Deborah Sinclair, one of the most recognized faces of Cassidy. Loyal readers of Sinclair may realize that the previous victim, Jane Doe, was slain on the publication anniversary of Storm Chaser, one of Sinclair's classic novels. A simple coincidence, or do these murders have a deeper connection to the author? The murder occurred in Sinclair's famous writer's retreat since near the border of the national park. The National Park Service was first on the site and is currently in control of the crime scene. As the NPS lacks the necessary training and resources to conduct murder investigations, we should expect that the crime scene will soon be handed over to the Soothsayer Task Force at the KPD. For now, the body will be transported to a city morgue, awaiting clearance for a pathological examination. Chief Ranger Samuel Walker had the following comment: "We are still establishing all of the facts surrounding this crime. Please be patient. We all want to do right by Deborah." Deborah Sinclair was a longtime friend of the Gazette and led a prolific life with more than 30 novels published during her lifetime. On this sad day, we mourn the loss of a cultural icon, and we pray that her death will be the last at the hands of the vile Soothsayer. Part of me wants to go, this has been Alexis reporting. All right. Propaganda, Skid Row, anarchists.
All right, I think that's everything I've got on Deborah in here. When I'm ready to leave, I should be able to learn more about the other victims at the library.
Interesting.
Various reference books and technical manuals.
I am not going to be able to leave this place without looking at absolutely everything.
An article in the Chicago Tribune about the Whitmore affair. My big breakthrough case last year. I've been meaning to get it framed, but I've been too busy with important things. You know, like drinking alone.
Ouch.
Thankfully, I don't need to make any calls right now. Every time I pick that thing up, I pray there's still a dial tone. The yellow pages. Handy for looking up people and businesses. No dice. Hardly a shocker, she was a celebrity.
Okay. I doubt there's going to be a phone number for the Soothsayer in the yellow pages, so we're just gonna skip that.
Just outdated casework. Can't bring myself to take them down.
I mean, it sounds like there's been cases. It's just not the kind of case she wants. We're grabbing the camera just in case.
It's a plastic laminator. A machine used to encase paper and other thin objects in transparent plastic. I mainly use it for fake IDs.
Well then, okay.
My private investigator's license, issued last year. I was worried how Lucas would react, so I applied for it behind his back. I couldn't have been more wrong, though. That old fart has been nothing but supportive since then.
Why are you so mean to him then?
My radio, with a built-in cassette player. I prefer the quiet right now.
Mildred!
Who's the best fluff ball? Couldn't agree more.
Aww. She's adorable. I love her. Oh, wow, there's a lot of
Useful
stuff in
things
here.
for when the Catmobile needs a tune-up. Every biker worth her salt has got a box like this somewhere.
Full of just parts? Okay.
I wish, but if I don't shape up and get some work done, I'm gonna end up sleeping somewhere way less comfy.
Fair. Ah, we'll automatically go to bed when we've completed all daily tasks. Nice.
This might be useful.
I guess we're going to need a brush for something at some point.
I'll live with my current face. Eileen and me, before Rain investigation started going downhill. We worked great together, didn't we? I wish things didn't have to go the way they did. Ugh, don't make me hurl. I'm way too hungover for coffee.
So what happened with Eileen?
No time to do the stupid dishes. I've got a case to solve. I better not open that. Wouldn't want the mold to spread.
That's concerning.
Still same old Cassidy. City of Gleam. I shouldn't need to bring that. There's storage on the bike if I need it.
Okay.
Maybe later. The red one goes better with this set. Manhunt. I prefer their old material, but their latest album wasn't half bad. Oh, Cryptic Chaos. Can't wait till they're back in town.
I'm really curious as to what happened with
It's
Eileen
a photo
now.
I took of the West End Bridge here in the city back in the day. Teenage Kathy had one of those artsy photographer phases. My walk-in closet. It's a real mess in there. I better not open the door or I'd risk spilling all sorts of shit out here.
What kind of a studio? Well, I guess this isn't technically a studio apartment. It's technically like a sleeper associated with an office. But what kind of studio apartment has a walk-in closet? What? Okay. Oh wait, do we want to
Thanks for
kill
the
him?
headache, you Mexican jerk.
Okay, I guess not. Okay, and outside we go. Let's get started on investigating. That cat is adorable, by the way. I just really love the art style of the Kathy Rain series. Rain Investigations or the city library? Let's go to the library. Spacebar will display all interactables in the room. Interesting. It actually looks like we're going at a frame rate that is much higher than we need. I don't know if I can change that. Doesn't look like I can. Darn. It is too early in the morning for me to be yawning like this.
That an actual avocado tree? Sure looks the part.
Ooh, fancy.
So apparently if there's a fire, I'm supposed to run through those gigantic double doors 10 feet away. Phew, I'm saved.
Why does that feel like
Plaque with
foreshadowing?
some prominent donors. Interestingly, Deborah Sinclair is listed
Well,
here.
if she's an author, that makes perfect sense. She would want to donate to the place that will give her book the most publicity.
Hi, I need some help, please.
Of course. How can I be of assistance?
What do you know about Deborah Sinclair?
Quite a bit. Do you have a more specific line of inquiry?
Okay, what kind of
What
books
kind of
did she
books
write?
did Deborah write?
She dabbled in many different genres over the years, but her main bulk of work could probably be defined as horror, mystery, or a combination of the two. Afflicted, Dead Ends Meet, and the Jenny Payne trilogy are some of her most well-known titles.
Huh, okay. Was she working on a new book when she died?
I believe so, yes. But I don't have any details to share.
Okay, was she terribly
Was Deborah
popular?
a popular author?
Oh, yes. Even before her death. Afterwards, her popularity has reached astronomical levels.
I can imagine. borrowing one of her books now is out of the question, right?
Correct. 6 months wait minimum.
Yeah, I figured.
There's no way that this could have been some sort of publicity thing. Is there? That would be a little bit much.
What do you know about Deborah's private life?
She had quite an interesting life. Adopted as a child, and her adoptive father, Sebastian Willis Sinclair, was an accomplished author in his own right. Deborah's birth mother was a young homeless woman, and her father was a Native American. Deborah spent much of her life trying to track down her biological father, unsuccessfully. Perhaps in some part due to her roots, Deborah's books have often contained subject matter inspired by Native American religion. She was childless and unmarried when she passed away. Rumors say she was gay, but God knows tabloids are quick to jump to conclusions. I don't think she ever clarified that matter to the public. If you are curious to learn more, I would highly recommend her acclaimed autobiography, Unbound.
After a 6-month
I
wait?
might check that out. Thanks for the information. What do you know about the murder?
I believe she was killed at her writer's retreat, stabbed to death. The police say the MO was similar to the other victims, with the shattered mirror and all that.
Where's this writer's retreat
It was right by
located
the park,
exactly?
right?
There's an area called Bear Creek, just on the border of the national park. Sinclair owned a small cabin there.
All right, got it. That's a decent drive, so I think I'll head out there tomorrow.
New location added. Neat. And I think that is all of our questions.
I'm
On
looking
Deborah.
to find some information on the Soothsayer.
Ah, quite a few people have taken an interest in that case lately.
That's so. Well, I'm not scared of a little competition. So, you got anything for me?
Yes, I would direct you to the microfilm viewer at the end of the hall. We have full scans of all of the major newspapers dating all the way back to the 50s.
Perfect. I should be able to browse those for some articles about the murders.
Indeed. If I may ask, what is your own interest in the case?
You probably heard there's a reward, right? I'm a PI, and money is tight, so...
I see. I suppose we each have our own ways to make a living.
Why does he sound so judgy? Oh, goodness. Okay.
Thanks. I'll come back if I have more questions.
Very well. Good luck.
I mean, isn't it better that we're trying to investigate the Soothsayer because of needing the money for the reward, rather than just being obsessed with serial killers?
You can rent one of those if you lack a fixed address. Let's hope things don't come to that.
I mean, to me,
A bunch
just
of
looking into
magazines,
serial killers
mostly
is
celebrity
more
gossip, it looks
suspicious.
like.
Okay, oof. I love the depth of field going on here. I cannot click on this person, so I suppose we're just going to look at the books.
If I need a book, I should use the computer.
How does that work exactly? Okay. No result. Search for book title or author surname. So, Sinclair. Dead Ends Meet. Stage Fright. Storm Chaser. What was the name of... What is this? This is... Okay, this is just a mystery. This is not the autobiography. Status unavailable. Okay, but the synopsis is Deborah Sinclair's long-awaited autobiography outlines the author's tumultuous life and rise to worldwide prominence. The book takes the form of a series of interviews by Sinclair's longtime friend and colleague, Stephen Collins. Okay. So we can't find Unbound, but can we find anything by the Stephen? Let's see. Okay, so Stephen Collins also wrote The Mauve Affair, also unavailable, an award-winning depiction of a botched bank robbery told by a group of unreliable narrators. In this captivating story about a bank robber, a nurse held hostage, a journalist, and a hostage negotiator, Collins masterfully weaves his twists and turns, always keeping the reader at the edge of their seat. Though never officially confirmed, The Mauve Affair has rumored to contain ghost-written chapters by several other authors. Interesting. Ghost-written or stolen? Those are two very different things.
Anything I print should appear here. I think that includes printouts from that microfilm viewer at the end of the hall.
Okay. So, let's just look at everything in the way there.
Okay, let's see here. It would take ages to look through all the microfilms since the killings began, so maybe I can figure out on what date the murder prior to Deborah's occurred. Hopefully I can deduce the date of the previous murder from the articles I picked up at the office. When I have a good date written down, I can view the corresponding microfilm and look for useful information.
Okay. 120.
All right, I've got a date written down.
Okay.
I can use that to find the corresponding microfilm.
That was fast. 125.98.
It's one of those advanced microfilms. I can't waste time by checking every date. I should look for the date of the previous murder in the sequence before I browse the microfilms.
Oh. What? Oh, I might have accidentally just selected that. Okay, so let's look at the article. She was stabbed to death on May 8th. May 8th. 5 victims in 3 months, so it has to be within a 3-month period of May 8th. Let's see. And let's see. It was slain on the publication anniversary of Storm Chaser. Okay. So let's go back to this and get the publication date of Storm Chaser, and that should be enough to give us a place to start looking in those microfilm records. Storm Chaser. Okay. 425.87. Oh, wait. 425.87. Okay. What? 425.87. What? Wait.
We're still in May. It doesn't make sense to browse any later dates.
Okay, so she died on the 8th. Wait. Wasn't it 425.87 that Storm Chaser was... Wait. That can't be right. So yeah, the publication date of Storm Chaser is 425.87. 425.87. The previous victim, Jane Doe, was slain on the publication anniversary, not on the publication date. So it is 425.98.
Yeah, this date should be good. I'll search through a week or so of microfilms, starting from the date I've written down. Hopefully I can find some useful information on the previous victim.
Okay.
Yes, there we go. I'll have these printed. All right, rinse and repeat. I should try to determine the previous microfilm date based on the information in these new pages.
Okay.
That way I can make my way back from article to article, victim to victim, until I get all the way to the first murder. Let's see here.
Okay. Oh my god, she was burned alive. Jesus Christ. Okay. Soothsayer burns Jane Doe alive. The infamous Soothsayer has cranked up the heat on his killing spree as the latest victim, a young woman in her early 20s, was determined to have been brutally burned alive on Constance Hill. The death occurred on the night of April 25th. Okay, and I am back. I had to go get lunch really quick. Okay. The infamous Soothsayer has cranked up the heat on his killing spree as the latest victim, a young woman in her early 20s, was determined to have been brutally burned alive on Constance Hill. The death occurred on the night of April 25th. Due to the state of the remains, Jane Doe's identity has been difficult to ascertain. Despite indications of dental work on the corpse, there were no matching dental records anywhere in the city, leading people to believe the woman was not local. The lack of a struggle could mean that the victim was incapacitated, but the condition of the body gives little clarity on that matter. Picking a public site like this was a risky proposition for the Soothsayer, but he may have banked on the fact that the distant witnesses would assume that the fire came from a nearby fire pit. Mayor Adams offered this comment: "As unpleasant as it is, I must ask you to be patient. Let Ed Cassidy, Chief of Police..." No, I'm sorry, I misread that. "Let Ed, the Cassidy Chief of Police, Edgar Mitchell Brown, and his team do their job. KPD has my full confidence in this matter, and City Hall stands vigilant to assist in any way we can. For our extensive coverage of the previous victim, Deacon Townsend, see issue number 842. Okay. So, Deacon Townsend is the next one. Or the previous one, I guess we should say. The Soothsayer has claimed a fourth victim, an unidentified woman estimated to have been 18 years old. Her charred remains were found on the outskirts of Cassidy near the overlook at Constance Hill. The cause of death is yet to be determined. The Soothsayer victims do not seem to share any obvious similarities in terms of gender, age, occupation, or social class, and the killing methods, locations, and disposal of the bodies are all different. However, the killings have all occurred within the greater Cassidy area over a period of 3 months, which would indicate that the Soothsayer is somewhat local to the area. In related news, the Cassidy Chief of Police has recently announced that the investigation of these killings will be taken over by the newly created Soothsayer Task Force. Edgar Mitchell Brown said the following during a press conference on April 26th. As of May 1st, the so-called Soothsayer slayings will be investigated by a dedicated task force of 8 senior detectives handpicked from various divisions at the Cassidy Department. Rest assured that this elite group has every resource at their disposal. When asked whether or not the FBI would be involved, Mitchell Brown replied, "There is no federal jurisdiction in this case. I have no further comment. We'll take it. The Gazette has frequently criticized the Cassidy Police Department for their errors in the past, but credit where credit is due. This is a step in the right direction." Okay. So the killing was on April 25th. The killings have all occurred over a period of 3 months. Okay. Deacon Townsend was the previous victim, issue 842. Jane Doe?
I know where Constance Hill is, but that's a fair distance from the city. Better save it for tomorrow. For now, I'll put Jane Doe on hold and see what I can find about the previous murder victim.
Okay, so Deacon Townsend should be next.
Microfilms containing images of scanned newspapers. They're organized by calendar date.
I understand. So, to find edition 842, we would still have to know the date, unfortunately. Okay, so this happened on the 25th of April. It's been happening for 3 months, so since February. Wait, is it possible that it's happening on every full moon? Let's see.
No. I don't think this date I've got written down is good.
Okay. Let's go look up Deacon Townsend, I guess. Okay, nothing there. Maybe let's go talk to the guy at the front desk and ask about Deacon Townsend. Okay, dude, do you
One
have
more
any
thing.
info?
Yes?
What do you know
Apart from Deborah Sinclair, I can't offer much insight on the Soothsayer victims.
Okay, well, you know, that's that.
Thanks. I'll come back if I have more questions.
I have more questions.
Very well. Good luck.
So, if we can't search anything here that I know of.
Jane Doe was the... I think I'm done with that victim.
Okay.
I should close my note.
Okay, so the article we have in our notes is edition 845. So if we were to look for edition 842, that would be 1, 2, 3 weeks ago. So let's try this date to look up microfilm.
Yes, this should be the right date.
There we go.
Let's see here. Okay, let's have a look.
Okay, yeah, okay, that was correct. Soothsayer stages suicide of prolific deacon. We are sad to report that a third member of our community has been taken out by the so-called Soothsayer, who appears to be Cassidy's first serial killer. The victim's name was Benedict Townsend, age 51. Our sources say that his death occurred on April 3rd and that Townsend was likely murdered in a staged suicide by hanging. Townsend served as a deacon at the King of Kings Catholic Church, an old congregation dating back to the early 1900s. He was a beloved figure in the community, well known for his voluntary work. Reverend Hugh Winters, the pastor of the King of Kings, has the following to say: "My heart aches for Ben's soul and everything he has left to give to the world, but I take some comfort in the fact that he is with the Lord now. And for the person or persons who did this to my friend, know that there will be a reckoning. Murder is a sin most vile, and God sees all. The King of Kings remains open as the crime occurred in the adjacent rectory building. However, the rectory will remain under lock and key until properly consecrated. Debate over reviving the Lone Star. An amusement park built in an old mining site. Okay, Soothsayer linked to 3 murders, serial killer on the loose, 3 killings in 2 months, connected by foreboding signature. Deacon Benedict Townsend, age 51, was found dead early on April 4th in the rectory of the King of Kings Catholic Church. The cause of death was determined to be hanging, but suicide has been ruled out by the KPD. An anonymous police source had the following to say: "Someone else was involved. The positioning of the body and other logistics don't add up if he was alone." This scenario is eerily similar to that of Eric Holloway, the postman who met his demise on that ominous full moon night last month. Ah, so there is a full moon component. His death was initially treated as a suicide, but later revised to homicide. Now the Gazette brings you the exclusive scoop. Both of these killings, as well as the brutal stabbing of the nurse Rose Taylor back in February, are linked to an object left at the scene, a shattered obsidian mirror, colloquially referred to as a scrying mirror. These mirrors have been used since ancient times to see the future or communicate with the spirit world. Does the Soothsayer responsible for this murders have a religious motive? Our source continues, "It's a signature. This killer is no hack. He hasn't left any other forensic evidence that can be traced back to him, so the mirror has to be deliberate." Townsend was a well-liked figure in the community, known for his charity work, and a longtime member of the church. Cassidy Chief of Police Edgar Mitchell Brown gave the following comment: "We are not classifying these homicides as serial offenses at this time, but trust that we have our finest on the case. We urge our readers to demand that Mitchell Brown recognizes that the citizens of Cassidy have been cursed with our first serial killer in recorded history." Interesting. So Eric Holloway's death was on a full moon night the previous month. So
Okay, I'll make sure to look into that church later and maybe find the address. For now, let's move on to victim number 2.
alrighty, and that should be the previous month on the full moon. There we go.
I'm on the right track with this date, but I think I've got the full moon and the new moon confused.
Oh, where the symbol's reversed. I always think the solid moon is the full moon. Okay, I suspect that was right. This one is right, I guess I should say.
Yes, this should be the right date. Let's see here.
Prominent suicide morphs into homicide. Initially reported as a suicide, the death of Eric Holloway on March 12th has been officially reclassified by KPD as a homicide. Since this public death occurred, multiple reliable witnesses have come forward claiming that the victim was pushed off the roof of the building at 4 Verdant Street. However, there are no detailed descriptions of the perpetrator, likely due to the limited illumination of the roof area at night. Holloway led a quiet, simple life working as a mailman for the city, and is said to have been well liked by his peers. However, there are unverified reports of mental health problems related to the death of his fiancée last year. Police sources told us that there are links to the brutal motel stabbing of nurse Rose Taylor on Statehood Day, but were reluctant to share further details of the ongoing investigation. I'm not going to read this part, but if you want to, feel free. Okay, so it's Statehood Day in February.
Eric's address isn't too far away, but I should learn all I can here before I visit any of the crime scenes. Coming up last, the very first victim of the Soothsayer.
So, Statehood Day? Ah.
Yes, this should be the right date. Let's see here.
Satanist responsible for motel slaughter. A brutal stabbing occurred at the Azure Sky Motel on February 5th, and our sources now say that there is an occult angle to the killing with some sort of artifact left at the scene. The husband of the victim was briefly detained but released a day later. Law enforcement claims that he remains a person of interest, however, and claimed that the cause of death was multiple stab wounds to the chest. Okay. Once more, if you want to read anything else on this page, feel free to stop and read it yourselves. Murder mortifies hotel management. It mortifies them? They're embarrassed that a killing happened in their hotel? Like, you're not sorry about the you're embarrassed. Is that... That's not the reaction I think you should have, especially not publicly. You should always be regretful if something like that happened in your place of business. That's a really good way to get canceled nowadays. On February 7th, Rose Amanda Tyler. It's not Rose Tyler, it's Rose Taylor. This is not Doctor Who, sadly. Rose Amanda Taylor, age 47, was found dead by Robert Tippett, the owner of the Azure Sky Motel. Taylor had been stabbed to death by an unknown perpetrator. Blood everywhere, like a goddamn butcher room, Tippett said, wide-eyed, and continues to emphasize that this city is going to hell. You go ahead and print that. Neighbors report hearing a commotion from the room, but apparently that was a regular occurrence, so no one went to investigate. Taylor is survived by her husband and 2 children who have declined a request to be interviewed. The husband was briefly detained, but is no longer considered a suspect. If you have any information about the murder of Rose Taylor, please contact the Cassidy Police Department at 555-583-175. Alrighty. So that should be it. That should be the first victim.
All right, that should be everything on the microfilms. I think I'll continue to focus on gathering information today and then head to each of the murder sites tomorrow.
Hint, if you need help with what to do next, try opening your notebook and query your active tasks. Okay. I appreciate that, because I am very bad at forgetting what the heck I'm doing. Okay, can we talk to people?
Some local hero from the Civil War, I think? Well, either that or Beethoven. That guy gets around.
Oh, you have no idea. So we're definitely not going to interview people, I suppose?
A bunch of magazines. One more thing.
Yes?
I have a lot more to ask about now.
What do you know about scrying mirrors?
Not much, unfortunately. They're not within my area of expertise.
Do you know anything about the King of Kings Catholic Church?
I'm not familiar with that church, sorry.
Are you familiar with the Azure Sky Motel?
I'm afraid not.
You don't know much, do you, dude? Oh, you can ask about things around here. Interesting.
I saw that Deborah Sinclair was one of the financial contributors to the library.
Indeed. This place had gone through a rough patch, and I'm told that her gift came just in the nick of time, saving the library from closure.
Oh, that's gotta be sad for them,
This
then.
place has been around for a while now, hasn't it?
Well, that depends on your frame of reference, but the library turns 110 next year.
Yeesh.
Damn. Must be one of the oldest buildings still standing in the city then.
Most likely, yes.
I don't want to ask him about that.
You don't want to ask him about the plant?
I don't want to ask. I don't want to.
I want to ask him about the plant. Is it an avocado tree?
I don't want to ask. Those boxes over there can be rented anonymously, right?
Yes. Would you like me to set that up for you?
Not right now. But if I'm evicted in a few weeks, I might just take you up on that.
Oh, I sincerely hope it doesn't come to that.
He sounds awfully sincere.
Can I borrow one of those magazines?
Yes, but Only for reading here in the library. You're not allowed to exit the building with them.
Got it, thanks.
Okay, I believe that is it.
Thanks. I'll come back if I have more questions.
Very well. Good luck.
There has to be something left that we can do.
Cassidy's first? Deborah Sinclair, celebrity author and one of... I think I'm done with that victim for... Jane Doe was the... Deacon Benedict Townsend was the third victim of the Soothsayer. He was found hanged under suspicious circumstances. I'm not sure where exactly this church is, but I should be able to find out. Broken obsidian mirrors, so-called scrying mirrors, are the calling cards of the Soothsayer, and the main link between the murders. The King of Kings is a Catholic church here in the city. The adjacent rectory was where the third Soothsayer victim, Deacon Townsend, was killed. I'm not sure where exactly this church is, but I should be able to find out. Eric Holloway was the second Soothsayer victim. He was a postal worker in his 30s who was killed by being thrown off a roof. I think I'm done with that victim for today. I should focus on my other leads for now. Eric Holloway, Rose Taylor, a nurse, was the first Soothsayer victim. She was stabbed to death in the Azure Sky Motel. I should see what I can find out about that motel. The Azure Sky Motel. The Catmobile is running on fumes, so I should give this place a call rather than head over. I'll need a number first, though.
I believe we can go back and use the red pages for that. In the meantime,
A bunch of
I wonder how we're going to find out where the hotel is.
If I need a book...
Mildred, I'm home.
Empty. All this gumshoe has left upon is her dignity.
Yeah, sadly, the going rate of that is awfully low.
Got the number. I'll call first and see if a visit makes sense. God knows I have to be careful with those last drops of gas left in the bike.
Thank you for calling the Azure Sky Motel, your oasis in Cassidy. How may I help you?
Hi there. This is Kathy Rain from Rain Investigations. I have some questions.
All right, then.
What do you know about the Soothsayer?
I know more than I'd like to. I could have gone without a close view of his handiwork, that's for sure.
I can imagine. A brutal stabbing, I take it?
No offense, but I'd rather not go over that again. It's all in the papers, if you're so dead set on getting all the gory details.
Do you know anything about scrying mirrors?
Only that our psycho killer enjoys breaking them around his victims, but I have no interest in understanding a nut like that.
Well, that's perfectly fair. If you could really understand what the killer was thinking, wouldn't you basically be a killer?
So, I hear that one of your tenants was murdered back in February? Rose Taylor.
No shit. Here I thought the boys in blue ransacked this whole place just for shits and giggles.
That happens more often than you'd think. Come on, man. Help a girl out.
Sorry for the attitude, but you know you're the umpteenth person to ask about that, right?
I get that, so how about we stick with the short version?
Fine. No, I don't know anything that isn't in the papers. No, you can't see the room. It's rented out, and even if you did go in there, there's nothing that the cops or cleaners haven't removed since friggin' February.
Understood. So, what about the next of kin? She had a husband, right?
Yeah, he came by later to pick up the personal effects. I just met the guy for a few minutes.
Did you catch his name?
I did, but I don't think he'd appreciate me giving out his name to some random lady on the phone. No offense.
I am a bit offended, actually. I'm not some random lady. I'm a licensed private investigator, and a renowned one at that. Ever hear of the Whitmore affair?
That does sound familiar.
Well, that was me. Now, here's a friendly piece of advice. Choose the path of least resistance. I can be a much bigger pain in the ass than this Mr. Taylor, believe me.
All right, fine. It's Orson. Orson Taylor.
That wasn't so hard, was it?
You're being
Thanks,
kind
buddy.
of a dick about
Appreciate
it.
it.
I'm actually going to call this video here. I have a lot more recorded, but I want you guys to let me know if you're interested in seeing more. So, if you are interested in seeing more Kathy Rain, please interact with the video in whatever way you want to. And I will be looking at those to decide whether or not to continue the series. So, thank you guys for your time. I look forward to seeing how everyone's opinions turn out, and so yeah, bye guys.